This talk it's not really a talk, it's more of a discussion. So this is going to be, in a sense, started by Dan Peterson and I. So I encourage everybody to sit as closely to the front row as possible, because this is going to be an interactive seminar.
Seminar makes it sound very formal.
Do you guys actually want to just all come forward?
Yeah, just come forward.
Seats? It'd be much better.
So I don't actually have a lot of slides for this, because the reason for that is because.
Don't move forward yet.
Yeah. Okay. Move forward.
I think we'll survive. People are at their power cords.
Yeah. Okay. Well, might have to pass the mic around. Okay. So the goal of this session, it's not a talk. The goal of this session is really to get everybody to participate. We want to build essentially a wave community, and a healthy one as well. And this means all of us here in this room. And so what this discussion is about is for us to think about how Wave can actually live on in this open community. So we do have so Dan and I gave some initial thoughts on a proposal of how we can potentially do this for the future, and we would like to open this up for discussion on what is the right thing.
So to be clear, what's Google's involvement going to be after the end of this year?
It is, so officially speaking, I do not believe we have a clear statement of Google's involvement past end of this year. So I can't comment on that just yet. It's not clear. I don't know.
Next question.
Yeah.
Will we have an official statement before the end of the week?
That I might have to get back to you on that one. Yeah. So
I think one thing that you can be confident of is that the code contributions that have been fast and furious as of late will continue at least until the end of the year, and frankly we're still working out the details for anything beyond that. But I think that I've been really excited to see the progress that Wave in a Box has already made, since the words Wave in a Box became a thing, right? So it's been interesting.
Oops.
I think it's fair to say that tomorrow there are a couple of things that we're going to announce that will I think, give a clearer picture of Google's involvement and lack thereof in
Yeah, so tomorrow morning, Soren's just mentioning that I think there's somebody not in the room today that will be giving a talk that is working on something and going to have an announcement in the morning that will help make things a little bit more clear around Google's continued involvement.
So we do have some, going back to the discussion, we don't actually have, so we have a proposal, but we don't have a set in stone. So we want everybody here to be able to participate. And remember, this is something that we own in this room together, not owned by Dan or I. All of us here own it. If I could have perhaps someone in the crowd who's happy to take some notes, that'd be good. Maybe you, front row. Yep. By the way, there's actually a link to this inside the talks wave.
Okay.
Yep. Cool. So we have so we gave a very brief thought about what we're going to do with how Wave's going to sort of live on. And so we have a very high-level proposal. And our proposal is that let's let the code for Wave live on Apache Software Foundation, the incubator project. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it. I'm certainly new to this myself.
So I imagine most people are familiar with the Apache Software Foundation in itself. One big arm they do have is the incubator, which is how new projects come about. Yeah. So the incubator, you get into it by you walking up with a community and in some cases code, but not in all cases code. In this particular case, we would have a lot of code to bring to the table, which is both good and bad. When you think about sort of ramping up new contributors on an open source project, you don't really want the code to be perfect because that makes the bar to contributing a little bit too high. So luckily we do have bugs, and so it's a good opportunity.
So pretty much you'll contain all the code that we currently have, which includes data format, federation protocol, the client, the server, the Robot API, the Gadget API, the whole lot. But before we move on to details about Apache Software Foundation, what do people in the crowd here think about? Like how it should move on, how Wave should live on? Is this a good proposal? Like any other suggestions?
Does incubator have any constraints
So no, it's as far as I'm aware, no. It's the question was, does the incubator mean that it can't be commercial? I mean, the Apache license is very much commercial friendly, so I would have a hard time thinking that there is a contradiction there. Yeah, John.
I had posed my opinion on this, I think back in August, people were talking about that. I'm also an attorney, and to have the ability of a 501c3 organization to be a recipient, you can then, have all the benefits and recognized by the IRS, and you have, just management of private entities, charitable entities, can be a real problem in just terms of having, staff, funding, that kind of thing. So I think you're very wise to attach yourself to an existing thriving organization, so that you don't have to worry about the organizational aspects, the qualifications, if you want to make donations, that kind of thing. It's all there. Like you said, you don't hire attorneys to do that.
Yeah, speaking from my own experience, I can totally echo that sentiment. I helped set up the Open Social Foundation, and I don't know that I necessarily want to go through the same steps of creating a new intellectual property. There's a lot of
It's a real headache.
Right.
And once you get it started, it's a real headache to maintain.
Can everybody hear John in the room? It's going to be real hard to do this over the Ustream because of the discussion, but is everybody able to hear that? Okay, cool. Matt.
What are the other alternatives? Sorry, I just want to make a comment. The good thing about Apache is when you go from the incubator to a regular project, Apache forces you to have, I think it's 3 different companies doing code. So if no longer belongs to a company, and if that company leaves, you're in trouble. So you really try and make sure there's a community effort and there is multiple people involved.
Yeah, I think if we were to go down the Apache Software Foundation incubator path, there are really sort of 2 bars that we would have to cross before we would be able to graduate from a top-level project to become a top-level project. Number 1 is diversity, like Ian's getting at, and that want to make sure that there's a broad set of contributors that aren't just funded by one single company. Then the second one is just managing the specifics of a release. So I think that one is more on the technical end of things, and the former is more on the community end of things. Matt?
I know, I just think what are the other alternatives?
Well, I think the other alternatives, there's really anything under the sun, right? But I think that we could do something where we continue down the path of having it hosted at code.google.com, and it's more ad hoc, basically. I think we could also sort of the alternative John is not supportive of would be creating our own nonprofit and coming up with a system of governance in that model. I think so those are the 3 that come to my mind. I don't know if there are any others.
I mean, one of the reasons for Apache, Dan and I had a thought is that Apache comes with a set of not just servers or code repository, but comes with a set of rules, governance that's already sort of pre-established, well proven that it works in that way. And so just by latching onto that procedure, the process sort of could save us a lot of not just legality, but just effort as well. Right.
Yeah, Apache itself is well known for fostering good communities who happen to build good software, and I think that's exactly what we need here. Like, there is a fair amount of software in existence, but I think it's more important that we establish a good, strong, healthy community.
I guess to reiterate sort of what you're saying is by associating with Apache, people who aren't that familiar with Wave may go, oh yeah, Apache, that's the successful open source project. So it's like, one Cadillac giving to another.
Yeah, I think it's even more that the meritocracy culture that Apache encourages is even more powerful than their brand, because I think that it's been shown time and time again that the right way to grow an open source project isn't just by saying everybody's now a committer. It's more about saying, man, I'm really sick of taking your patches. You're a committer now. And by sick of taking your patches, what that means is you've contributed 3 patches, and every time it's just somebody like David has have to look through all of them and been like, this is just ready to go. It's perfect. So why aren't you a committer already?
Right. I mean, one change of mentality here, which is on the next slide, from a very high level, we notice that right now, Dan and I are essentially leading the talk here, right? Because in a sense, we've been doing this for waveprotocol.org. But once you go to Apache, it's more like a very flat meritocracy system where essentially peers make the decisions. Everybody makes decisions. Not just us. We're just as equal as you guys. We're all equals, and all decisions are made on the mailing list. Everything's public. Anyone can just use the code. Your participation in the project is completely based on merit or duotocracy, or that's what they call it as well. So if you can do it, hey, you have credit. You own the thing, right? You yourself, who are sitting in the crowd today, who are just listening, now becomes owners yourself. Yeah. So this is real power. And we actually want to have a variety of contributors. And this is actually part of the Apache process. You have to have a variety of contributors before you can actually graduate. And this is not just an effort by us, but by us two here, but effort from everybody in the crowd. And so it can only happen if everyone in the crowd wants to do this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Apache is a great place to go, and you get a lot of traffic just by being associated with Apache. But one of the things I've seen on a lot of the Apache incubator projects, the ones that die are the ones that don't have a roadmap. In terms of, yeah, it's on Apache, but you're in the incubator, so people sort of know it's not really a mature project. And in order for that to pick up steam, you have to be able to show this is where we are, this is where we're trying to go. And that can certainly be an open discussion amongst the whole community. But if you don't have that kind of a sense, it's hard for the community to rally, pick up steam, attract new people. Because just by virtue of being an incubator project, the question comes up, is this going to be worth my time to put into it? Is it going somewhere?
Right.
Yeah, it's a good reminder. I think that speaks to two things really. One is that we'd want to make sure the pace can stay high enough, but not screamingly fast.
Right.
But I think because screamingly fast would scare away new contributors. But then at the same time, luckily there's lots of features that you can add to Wave in a Box. So I think that having topics for a roadmap is pretty easy to do. It'll be more about who wants to build X and then put it on the roadmap, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it can even be as simple as here's things that we want to do, and here's things over the last couple months that we have done.
Yeah, I think the good news is actually a lot of what we're already doing in the community and the starter projects and things like that are reasonably similar to how it would be set up if we were in the incubator land. The biggest difference being that the code would be at apache.org instead of code.google.com. And the issue tracker too, that kind of thing.
By the way, just to put it in more concrete terms, I think we have another session here on Wednesday, 2 days from now. How many people actually want to actually do exactly what you just said? Let's work out a roadmap for this project. Who actually wants to participate? So I can see lots of people want to participate. That's great. So let's somehow form a way we can communicate after this session. How we can just write it on a piece of Wave or document, whatever, and then we can get together again on Wednesday and talk about what our roadmap is and share it and get everybody's buy-in. Because I believe we, Googlers, have some idea of what we want to do before the end of the year, but I think contribution from everybody is crucial.
And it's back. Sweet. VC delay or something, I don't know. Yeah, so in terms of specifics on this proposal, the Apache Incubator has an entry process, and David's done a bunch of work to put together a draft proposal which has a bunch of words that explains in Apache format, basically, here's what we want to do, here's why we want to do it, here's some of the context for what we're doing. And I think that it's definitely a straw man at this point, but we can add a link into one of the waves with the notes here, and people can review that over the next couple of days. We can also jump off from there and have some type of a roadmap discussion. I would encourage conciseness on a roadmap, but that's just me. James. Yeah, so I know a few people who have been doing Apache things in the past, and I was involved with the Apache Shindig project, and I've already lined up a champion for us, which is one of the key things we would need. The champion, it would be our primary mentor, our primary advocate inside Apache. And then I think one open issue will be make sure that we can find a few mentors who are very familiar, who can help us build the community in the Apache way, as they call it. And I don't think that will be the major obstacle. And I suspect Apache will be interested in having this project in the incubator.
Hey, by the way, just out of curiosity, how many people here in the crowd has actually worked on Apache project before?
Hey, Ian, you should raise your hand.
Two people.
What? Okay.
That's good. That's good. We have two experienced.
Well, but how about this? Who's worked on an open source project before? All right. See, that's actually, I would say, probably even more important.
Yeah, and you have to be an Apache committer is basically just assign libraries and then you make each of the project that they can be suitable. Not necessarily a hard task. In Apache, normally the hard task is proving yourself that you're a committer, you're a long-term committer, and you want to put code into the project. You're not going to do that for one or two people.
Hey, should we take a poll of people who? I mean, maybe we should tell them that this is not set in stone. So if anyone has any proposals.
Well, I mean, I'm not hearing any objections to the idea of going down the Apache Incubator project.
I think it's the best option we've got at the moment.
Right.
It's it is the not easiest, but it's the best option to get us a support and then to get us a framework which we can then go to other people and say, look, we're still around, we're not dead. And Apache has a name. Yeah, it's probably the best option.